Mm. Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter that I like to do twice a month on a Monday. I like to invite authors into my home and we talk about books, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes to mind. And today I have two special guests. I have, I'm reading KrazyGirl. I'm sorry, Marci Ober and Courtney, her daughter. How are you ladies doing?
Hi,
Hi.
Tina. Hi.
Good.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you.
Yes, I'm so happy and excited to have you. I think what I'm fascinated, first of all, about is that mother and daughter wrote a book together. That I think is just wonderful. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we get into that, the name of the book that we're going to talk about is The KrazyGirl Parent Survival Guide, correct?
Correct. Yes,
You have a copy of that to hold up?
I do. I
You got
do.
two copies. Yay! So KrazyGirl, and guys, I like that you put that in there.
Yes.
Parental Survival Guide, and you
Yes,
wrote this together.
we did.
I'm going to ask first of all, what brought this book to life? Why did you decide, number one, as mother and daughter, to write this book? Can I just get some background from you on that? And I'll leave it up to you who wants to answer.
Should I start, Court?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm a family therapist in private practice for like 30 years. So I'm a long practicing therapist. I've worked in Anchorage, Alaska, in California, in New Jersey. I've worked with lots of people in many, many different settings. And I thought I was a great therapist until I became a parent. And until I became a parent of a kid that was struggling with some mental health issues. So, at some point when Courtney was going through her struggles, I realized that we've learned a lot, we've gone through a lot together, and we have a lot to share. And I thought if we could write a book together from a parent slash therapist perspective and a young person's perspective, and then of course we interviewed 30 experts in all the different chapters, that we could present a very well-rounded guidebook for parents that might be struggling with children of any age that have mental health challenges, which I think there's not a family that's not affected by that. So Courtney was really about it. We wrote the chapters. She wrote her parts of the chapters. I wrote mine. We interviewed her therapist, her psychiatrist, her school counselor. And I think Courtney, as a parent, sort of my background hope was that she would start to see herself not so much as a victim of her struggles, but more somebody who has learned a lot and has a lot to share and can help others. And I think that it was very successful. What do you think, Court?
Yeah, it was definitely a long journey of you being a therapist and me going through mental health challenges. So, what better way than to spread what we've learned and what you know from your, schooling and all your experience along the way, than to write a book about it. So it's definitely been a whirlwind writing the book with my mom and just starting the nonprofit organization and dedicating ourselves to like helping people and spreading information about mental health. So I'm so glad we did it and that we were able to share everything we know with people.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations to the two of you. Can I ask, Courtney, how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 21. I'm turning 22 in September. So we started the book when I was like 18 or turning 19. So it's definitely been interesting being such a young author,
Yeah,
but I'm very thankful for it. And
I
yes,
think it's
this is the
brilliant.
start.
And I have to say, writing this book, from your perspective and from your mother's perspective, when you were writing, I'm getting the feeling that you're completely open, completely transparent. You didn't hold anything back. Were there a lot of surprises from either one of you? Like when you read your mother's part and Marci, you read your daughter's part. Was there a lot of surprises for either one of you?
I don't know if there were that many surprises. I think as far as our journeys and the things that she's been telling me throughout the years, those were sort of things I've been hearing for a while. But just hearing her speak about me in a light, because usually she speaks to me, not about me from an outside perspective. So that was really interesting and definitely enlightening. And I think even made me see parts of her that I didn't know were there in a little bit of a way. And so not that many surprises, like contextually, but when you hear somebody speak about you, it's a little bit of a different light, which is exciting.
That's interesting. I never heard you say that. That's so cool. I imagine.
It really is. I do want to pause for just a moment and say hello to a few of our readers, and then I'm going to have Courtney read a little excerpt for us, because I'm not sure how long you're going to be able to stay. So let me say hello to a few of our readers. And again, I'm here with the authors of The KrazyGirl and Guy, Parent Survival Guide, Marci Ober. See, I
Ober.
said
Ober, just Ober.
Ober. And her daughter, Courtney. And I do want to say hello to a few of our readers. We have Karen right here. She says hello. Tina Atkinson. If you have any questions for these ladies, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll get to as many as I can. Paula Miller is here. Karen Geelan, Lori Chasco, Darlene Johnson. They're all saying hello. Barbara Miller. Alicia Haney from Texas. Lori said, I'm going to put this up real quick. Lori said, that's great mother-daughter bonding. Do you think you will write another book together? That was going to be one of my questions later. But Lori beat me to it, so I'll let you answer that one before we do the read.
I'm going to ask you, Court. What do you think?
I don't think we've actually ever talked about that. That's never been an idea presented out loud, other than different renditions of this same book. But I hope so. I think we have a lot more stuff we want to share. Even just like I'm reading my excerpt from the Hope chapter, where I think both of us could combine and write a whole book about hope. And so I hope so. And if not, I hope to write another book, maybe mental health related, but I hope to write another book with you, Mom.
Well, let me take that.
Great. Oh, I hope it happens.
So there is a book, actually. So when my first book that I wrote, The Tales of Perfect Foot, that I'll talk about later. It's a fable. It's a fable for all ages. It's sort of an inspirational book. I self-published that book, and then the KrazyGirl Guide I wanted to have traditionally published, because for some reason I believed that was going to produce a better product, which I don't know if I agree with that at this point, but that was my hope for it. So anyway, there was so much in this original manuscript that the publisher did not want, that I pulled out a whole page workbook. And it was a chapter in this book called The KrazyGirl Guide to Self-Love, Self-Care, and Self-Esteem. And so that—
They didn't want that in there?
No, it never got published. And so I own the rights to that. And I'm going to publish that as a separate workbook guide for people that want to, delve into self-esteem, self-love, and self-care.
It's part of the package.
Yeah, no, there's just so much that can be said on all of these topics, but that is a book in the future. And I never even mentioned that to you, Courtney, but maybe we'll work on that together.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think it was just in another part of my brain, but yes, it's very exciting. I loved writing my section in that part as well.
Yes, you wrote your section. You know what? So every chapter, I would say, all right, cool. So the chapters in the book, basically, if I could take a second before Courtney reads, I just want to let you know what the chapters are, because it really is a comprehensive guide for anybody who's struggling with mental health challenges. It doesn't have to be for parents. The publisher basically said, nobody that's struggling with mental health issues will buy this book for themselves, but parents will buy it for their children. So that's why it became a parenting guide. But it is applicable for anybody that's going through mental health challenges. So the chapters are therapy, medication, school-related issues, relationships, we all need to belong, family dynamics, roll downhill, relapse is a part of recovery, wisdom, strength, and hope, advice from crazy mamas and loved ones, and then messages of hope and inspiration, which Courtney's going to read an excerpt from. Each of us, so I would say to her, all right, we're working on the therapy chapter now, Court. write what you want to say to people about therapy, and she'd write her part. So every one of these chapters I've written, Courtney's written, and until we put it all together, we didn't know what we had written together. Each of us had written.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's why I asked if there's any surprises, because you're both writing separately and then bringing it together. So I was curious if there's going to be any surprises. But I do want to hear Courtney read. So I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to give it over to Courtney.
Hi. Okay, so I'm reading a little bit of an excerpt from the chapter on hope. Hope. This topic can seem strange and unattainable to those who are struggling, but keeping hope within ourselves is one of the best things a crazy girl or guy can do. There is always a bright light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how far we have to walk or run to find it. When we're having a tough day, it can seem like there is no end in sight. We might feel exhausted, frustrated, or hopeless, but keeping a positive-ish attitude is crucial to actually feeling better. If we wallow in our pain and do not search for that bright light, we may not find it. If we stroll through the dark tunnel with an open mind and a gentle encouragement to just keep swimming, we will find our way out. My message of hope to you is this: love yourself for who you are. Own your challenges and use them to help you become a stronger and more empathetic individual. Look at a difficult situation as a way to challenge yourself to become even more resilient. Find things to appreciate in life, not just technology or material desires. Channel the person you want to be and work to meet your goals. Work to make each day feel like an opportunity rather than something that is going to be dreadful and drag on. Most importantly, be kind to yourself, accept yourself for who you are, and work to make each day exactly what you want it to be. Which, as I read it, is so much easier said than done. And I think I acknowledge that in the part that I skipped. I skipped to the end of that excerpt, but it's definitely easier said than done, but definitely something to keep going throughout the days.
Such wise words to live by. It reminds me of always remembering that your glass is half full.
Yes.
And half empty.
Yep.
It's something that I always live by. Back in the day, I've had some issues in my life, and I always used to think the worst. And I always used to pull out what was bad in my life. And from what you just read, is like, look at the good. Don't concentrate on the bad. Focus on the good, whether it just be a little bit or a lot, but grab that little bit of good in your life and feed off of it. That's the impression I'm getting. And I think it's beautifully written. Well done.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed that. Very good. I'm going to ask something happened in order for you to decide to write this book. Can I ask, either one of you can answer, what triggered the idea for this book? I'm sure an event happened, but what triggered for you to write this book?
Yeah, so these comments are wonderful as well.
I know, we're going to stop and pause it down. I'll put some up for you.
Yes, but I went away to college my freshman year at a school only an hour and 15 from me. And I made it to about October before I was coming home every weekend. And then I moved myself home from college in the middle of the semester, my first semester at college. And we realized something was definitely up, and it wasn't just high school issues. It was persisting into my adulthood. So when I came home from college, I remember it being like November in the fall, sitting outside, and we were like, we should write a book about this. You've been to treatment facilities, you've been in therapy so much, you could be a therapist already, which is part of my future career aspirations.
Nice.
But and so we thought we had to share it all, and that's when the idea really came to being. If you disagree or feel that there's anything else, I would love to know.
Me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Mom.
So listen, you are so eloquent, and this has been your journey, and I give all the credit to you for what you've been through and how you're dealing with your life. But for me, this went back way before that, because your issues started in middle school, and by the time you got to college, if I can be candid, you'd been hospitalized 4 times, you'd been in numerous treatment facilities, you'd had more medication trials than I can even believe or imagine. And I remember sitting at a sushi bar one night. So imagine this, I'm a therapist. Okay. I'm helping other people. I'd get a text in the middle of a session, I can't go on, I'm going to kill myself. right in the middle of a therapy session, and I'd stop my session. I'd say to my patient, I'm so sorry, I have to go. I'd race down to get you. And it was a shit show, for lack of any better words.
Right.
And I remember sitting at a sushi bar one night, and I was searching the internet, like, what's going to help her? We've done this. We've tried this. This is when you went to Pacific Quest. I found that wilderness program in Hawaii. And I remember thinking, if I'm a therapist and I have all the resources in the world, I have the best psychiatrists, colleagues, the best colleagues in the New York metropolitan area, like, it just doesn't get better than this. And I don't know what to do. I'm like, how does anybody know what to do? And that, to me, got me thinking, I need to write a book. But when you kind of went, it was years after that with your college experience and everything, I knew we had to write the book together. But I just know that people don't know what to do.
Exactly.
People have no comprehensive guidebook, and I felt like it's our mission in life to write it. So that was.
Now you started the nonprofit organization. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Courtney, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't want to personally profit. I felt very strongly that, like, I wasn't going to, like, pimp out our family. Hate to say it like that, but I didn't want to personally profit from our tragedy. And I really wanted, and I still do want, this book to really go far and wide, because I feel like there's so much information here. So I figured the only way to really do that in a clean way was to start a nonprofit, and for the proceeds to go into that, and for us to do good works with that. So we started the KrazyGirl Project, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've had some fundraisers, proceeds from the book go into it. And Courtney graduated from a local college, summa cum laude, I have to say, so very well. A small college in northern New Jersey called Ramapo College of New Jersey. I went to Ramapo College of New Jersey, so I'm an alum of that college. And so our first good works with our nonprofit, we've bestowed a 5-year ongoing scholarship to Ramapo for seniors that are going into helping professions, to help them with their graduate work. So I feel good about that. Like, the book is doing things,
You really should. Do you happen to know what is your main reader's age group? Do you happen to have any idea if it's Courtney's age or if it's parents? I'm just curious.
Well, if our Facebook group is any indication, because we have a thriving Facebook community, we've got members from all 50 states and 75 countries worldwide. And our demographic for that, because I can see that, is 30, 40, 50s, more moms' ages. I actually would have to get the demographics from.
I'm just curious, because the reason I ask that is because this is such a fascinating subject that it reaches a broad ages from, like I say, I keep referring to Courtney's age to mom. I mean, that whole spectrum right there. Have you ever done any kind of lectures at high schools or colleges? I can just see you guys talking at those places.
Well, we started promoting the book. The book came out on 2/22/22, and
it's a new book.
Just this year. And it's my job to really promote it. And to be honest, I've been going through a divorce, and I have not.
Well, that's the hardest part of the book, is the promotion. It's the hardest part.
Yeah, I've been remiss in. We've done author chats, we've done some library stuff, I've done some book fairs. I've tried to promote in temples and different things, but, like, I really should be behind this more. And I have been remiss. I have not done that.
It's not easy. I get it. I mean, when I wrote my first book back in 2018, I'm like, okay, the book's out there. Why aren't people buying it? Oh, I got to promote it. How do I do that? It's just, it's that kind of thing. And it is a continuous learning curve. I'm still learning. But we just keep at it. That's all you can do. And you find different venues, different avenues of getting the word out there about your book. You're doing a chat tonight. And it's going to, we're sharing it on Facebook.
And we thank you for your support. And we thank you for giving us a platform to share, with your readership, and your audience. So, and we appreciate everybody that has interest or questions.
I'm going to take a little break here. And we're going to just pause through and say hello to more people and get some comments up. Bambi is here, and she says,
Bambi. Bambi, I know, because Bambi works with a friend of mine, Carol Vandehen, who has
Oh,
written
okay. Yeah,
a
she's one
wonderful.
of the moderators in her group.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, hi, Bambi.
Have Alicia, and she says, "I agree. It would be great, especially for high school kids.
I agree.
It's something to look into to get the word out there and more people. And with the high school kids and the students, I also look at it like a way. I mean, I admire the relationship, number one, that you two have as a parent and a daughter, and that Courtney, opened up to you, and you opened up to Courtney. I just think it's a really special relationship that you have.
We do.
Because I mean, I've heard of some authors that were mother daughter, and their father and the son tried to write a book, and it ruined it. It just ruined it. And it's not just in authors, any business. I've heard of kids and mothers going into business together, and it ruined it. So I really admire the relationship that you have.
We are lucky. We're very close. I mean, we don't get along all the time. I'm sure she's really annoyed with me a lot of the time, which is normal. But we do great. We're lucky. Yeah.
Yes, you are. And do you have any brothers or sisters, Courtney?
I do. I have an older sister.
Okay.
And we're like, I feel like us ladies in the house are like the Three Musketeers. So it's wonderful. And she is a stable, cool cucumber. So she definitely holds our crazy selves together.
She's an engineer. She is like tough as nails and nothing emotional about her. And she did not want to be mentioned in the book. She did not want anything, she's like, that's your thing. I don't want anything to do with it. And she didn't. Yeah.
Did she read it though?
Of course.
Yeah, did she read the whole thing? I don't think she did. Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to ask her that. I don't believe that.
Okay, I want to. How are you doing, Courtney? You okay for time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this actually helping you feel better, to be honest? I think it is. I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. Let me look at some more of these comments. I have another question for you. Okay, well, I just answered Renee's question because that was, do you have any siblings? Thank you. Sorry, Renee, I beat you to it.
I see. Is it Leica?
Leisha Haney.
Leisha. She says the book cover is beautiful, and I absolutely agree. Can I say? So this was something the publisher did a great job. They had a wonderful design person, and I love this. I love the design. I love the leaf morphing into the birds, the feather rather morphing into the birds, and then she incorporated the design elements inside into chapter breaks and section breaks, and I think the design of this book is magnificent.
Did you have feedback on the cover?
We did. Yes, absolutely.
And you kind of knew what you wanted. You wanted the feathers on the cover?
No, I had no idea. They really queried us and asked what our vision was, and I was interested in growth. And hold on.
Yep, I just took my tea.
My first vision was a fist, because Courtney, show your tattoo. So Courtney, do you want to tell your story of this?
Yeah, it says I am greater than my highs and lows, even though it's backwards.
I love it.
And like a mountain, I can climb over a mountain and swim through waves. And it's definitely a nice daily reminder that whatever.
You designed the tattoo?
I did design the tattoo, yeah. And
what's near the tattoo?
Yeah, just like self-harm scars from my past. And so that's why I decided to put it there, and it definitely means a lot to me.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I want to put this comment up from Tina Atkinson. We have had struggles in our family of mental health with our kids, so this book will be very interesting to read. I think it will be helpful. I've seen the reviews on your books, and they are outstanding. You've got nothing but praise on this book. I kind of browsed it before I came on live tonight, and the reviews have been outstanding. And from what I'm gathering, everyone that picks up this book, they're getting all kinds of information, and you're helping people, which I think is fabulous.
I appreciate it.
But I want to go back to your Facebook group. You said you have over 3,000 members?
4.
Congratulations.
4,000.
Can you kind of give me a rundown on what you do in the group? What do the members do? Can they go in there and ask questions? Just give me a rundown on what you offer in the group.
Yeah, so people definitely ask questions. People come get support, share support. It tends to be a more inspirational group. It's not negative. There's no snark. There's never any politics. People are incredibly respectful. And it's really more inspirational. People post inspirational memes or sayings or poems, and people comment on it and people discuss it. Sometimes people will come on and ask a question, and people will share feedback. And it's really amazing to me. And what I love about it almost more than anything is that there are people from 75 countries. And so mental health, here's something to keep in mind. One of the big missions in our nonprofit is to bust stigma, and stigma is internalized. I mean, it is externalized and people judge, but people judge themselves more than anything. And here in America, we are well ahead of the curve over other countries. You think about less progressive countries, and there are members from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or just places where maybe mental health is not as well widely understood. And I think people really get information and share information, and I love that.
And they probably share do they share their personal stories?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I wouldn't say it's a deeply sharing. I would not call it a support group.
Okay.
Once in a while, people will come on and say, I'm struggling with this, or do you have any ideas about that? What about medication? I'm going through this with my family member, but mostly it's more about human growth and personal growth. What do we do for meditation? What do we do for self-care? What does yoga do? It's a more holistic, wellness focused group, I think.
Okay. And are you in the group every day?
Every day. I post every day. At 6:15 in the morning, there will always be a post for me every day. I post them in advance. And then I'm on throughout the day, commenting, moderating, connecting. Yes, always on.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. You guys should come into my group and do a takeover. We have a Tuesday takeovers, and it's not a live chat like this, but it's where you can come in. You can either come in the morning. I think I'm going to go with Pacific Standard Time because that's where I'm at, 8 o'clock till 11, or you can come in from 1 till 4, and you completely take over the group and, do posts about your books, about basically what we're talking about now. But
we'd love to.
People that can't make the chat, because we have like 3,000 members.
That's fantastic.
And I would love for you to come on in and share your experiences too. So I'm going to send you the link to the chat, not the chat.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Takeovers. I'm sure the group would love it. Perfect. A lot of these people here are in the group, so I'm sure they would love to have you too. I want to put this up from Karen. She says, my daughter is going to university to study social work. She is going to move into her dorm next Saturday. We're all happy to see how far she has come with her issues.
And I am a social work major and a social work lover. And I think it's the best field a lot of times the people in this field have 100% of the time they've either seen somebody go through it or they've been through it. And it's definitely a field of love, help. It's just my favorite. I dabble in psychology as well, but there's something about social work that is so special.
You just love it, huh?
I love it. So I hope she loves it as well.
Good luck, Karen, to your daughter. We're sending you.
Awesome. I'm just going to put some of the comments for you to see. I'm not sure which ones you were seeing. This one is from Karen. Come on, Karen. There we go. You've been through a lot, Courtney, but I praise you for being here with us.
Thank you.
I admire both of you. How are you? You started this book in 2018. Is that when you started writing this? Kind of, or had the idea in 2018?
Well, 2019. Yeah. Really started writing it in earnest during the pandemic, 2020.
Okay. I wanted to ask Courtney, since you started writing this book, and I look at this book also as therapy for you when you write it, how are you doing today versus you were doing in 2018 or a little bit before?
Yeah, that is such a great question. So every day is a interesting journey. We are pretty sure I have bipolar disorder. So basically some days are great, other days are not so great. Like today is not a great day, but that's why I mean, it's taken me so many years to not like bail out of an event like this or something, but
I think we're close.
I was very close. Yeah, it's hard to not fall into old ways, but definitely since high school, or even since I started my mental health challenges, since we wrote the book together, I've grown so much. It's been years that it's taken me to realize that I am not defined by my mental health challenges, that I am a human with mental health challenges, which is a tough thing, and it does take sort of time of struggling and figuring yourself out, but every day is interesting, and I try to find good in every day, and I try to stick to routine. I get up and exercise, I eat well, I try to treat myself well, and as long as you're doing pretty much everything you can do to help yourself, that's what I suggest. I guess that was a tangent. I'm doing okay, but on my bad days, that's when we gotta dig into the self-care, dig into our skills, and maybe even pick up the Hope chapter and read a little bit of that.
You are such an inspiration.
Thank
You
you.
really are. Beautifully said.
And
And
I've been so inspired by my mom and so many people who I've seen just battle through tough times, whether it's mental health challenges or something else.
what I love, I mean, I see how strong you are from your words. You're a very strong young woman. But before we went live, I understood that you weren't feeling well and it was not a good day for you. But you come out here and you're smiling and you are just taking control of it.
Thank
And
you.
I think that is fantastic. And I just have to say that. I want to put this up, another one from Karen. She's the same reader that was talking about her daughter going to college. She wrote, I have a daughter that is turning 21 in December, has been hospitalized twice for cutting and suicidal statements. We have found a really good therapist and psychologist that seems to have things better. And I understand, Karen, this is the daughter that's going to, I think, social work. I think I'm correct. If I'm not, let me know. But I wish her well. And do you have any words for Courtney or Marci for Karen? Any advice?
I think as far as just if she still sometimes gets in a place, sometimes when you have those thoughts or you've been through something like that, it's hard to shake them, or they'll come back at times, and just to find little joys in life, whether it's putting your I like to a simple joy is putting your blanket in the dryer, getting it warm and cuddling up in it. If that's something that can get you through a night or get you to sort of push through a tough time, finding little things, because not every day will be the best. And at college, you'll have homework and things won't be fun 1,000% of the time. So finding those little joys and whatever she likes in particular, that's something that helps me get through a tough day, is just the little things.
And maybe I could take it from a little bit more of a clinical perspective. So there's a chapter that I think is a really important chapter called "Krazy Plays Out on a High School Stage." And in the chapter, it talks about support systems that are available for college. There's a whole part of the chapter entitled "What About College?" And besides Courtney and I writing the book together, we interviewed a lot of experts. And so one of the experts that we interviewed for the college part of the education chapter was the head of the social. So what is that? Social services, academic support. What's David Nast? What's his title, Court?
He's like disability services.
Head of disability services. So what disability services are available in college? And it's all listed out there, including all the paperwork that parents are going to want to sign with their children before they go to college, like a FERPA. Without a FERPA, parents have no access to information from the college. The college will not speak to a parent without a FERPA signed. They won't tell you the grades. They won't communicate about anything. So I think that, checking out that chapter and looking at the routine paperwork that is important to fill out before a kid goes to college, and get academic and social support services in place before you even need them. Because if you don't need them, that's great. But what I see as a therapist all the time, not just, Courtney's mom, no offense, that's my biggest job, best job, but like October, November, December, there's always a flurry of requests coming in from kids in college and their disabilities offices, wanting my input, trying to get these kids signed up for support services. And by that point, it's impossible to get an appointment for anything. It's probably late in the game. So I would say sign up for things, avail yourself of support services, find out what the disabilities office can provide. And you can always not accept services, but get them in place so if you need them, they're there. That, especially if you've got a kid that's been hospitalized, that has a therapist, that has a psychiatrist, you're going to want like a whole team providing that support for when that child goes away and everything is disrupted. So I think
That's great advice.
it has a tremendous amount of
Great
information
advice.
on that.
And
Yeah,
speaking of the book, you promised us to read an excerpt also, correct?
I did. I'm trying to think of what I want to, I was going to have something from the beginning.
Meeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's see.
You got one?
Yeah, I'll read the introduction. How's that?
Perfect. Perfect. It's all yours, my dear.
All right. It was winter 2014 when my 14-year-old daughter Courtney ran away from home. After an angst-filled family vacation, she snapped and rushed from the house in the middle of a family movie night. Not one to do anything by halves, Courtney fled in the middle of a raging snowstorm after dark in her socks. Fortunately, her older sister chased her down and hauled her back home. When they returned less than 20 minutes later, relief flooded my veins. Despite the feeling in the pit of my stomach that things were not right, I remember how tempted I was to normalize this event by unpausing the movie and pretending nothing had happened. At the same time, the sad undertone of reality leveled me. I knew Courtney needed help. Her depression and anxiety were no longer typical teenage angst, and her symptoms weren't just going to go away. More than anything, as my two beloved daughters stood in the foyer, I'm going to get emotional.
Aww.
Sorry, stood in the foyer with snow whipping in behind them and puddles forming at their feet, I saw the worry in Courtney's eyes, and I knew it mirrored my own. We feared the unknown. I just cannot imagine that this would make me this emotional.
Aww.
We were just landing in KrazyLand, and neither of us knew how long and winding this road would actually be. Although I had essentially no personal experience of this journey as a parent at the time, it's a familiar one for many. The National Alliance on Mental Illness reports that 17% of U.S. youth experience a mental disorder. That means that over 8 million young people and the people who love them would likely empathize with the tableau that played out that night in my foyer. With such a large community, why did I feel so alone? As a licensed marriage and family therapist, I had spent decades in mental health care. Yet, even with all my professional knowledge and experience, navigating the long and painful road out of KrazyLand as a mom was the most difficult and important challenge of my life. My hope is that the KrazyGirl and Guy Parent Survival Guide will act as a meaningful compass for anyone who has felt the way we did that terrible night. This easy to understand guidebook is the elusive roadmap out of KrazyLand for any parent who has stayed up until sunrise, searching the internet for help about their child's severe mood swings, suicidal thoughts, or other concerning behaviors. Now, on the other side of this long and painful journey, we are privileged to share everything we have learned to help anyone who struggles, whether personally affected or a loved one trying to help. Emotional freedom is not free, but it is available through knowledge and effort, and the results can exceed your wildest expectations.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And the fact that you got emotional just tells you how real it is to your writing. But it's an incredible story that both of you have. I want to ask you, Courtney. I'm sorry. I mean, Marci.
Okay.
You're the mom. You see your daughter going through this. What advice do you give to other parents that are now realizing, that there's some mental health issues with their children? What's the first thing, besides buying your book, which I highly recommend, what kind of advice can you give as a mom to someone?
I would say this, try to stay open-minded and open-hearted. It's easy to blame. It's easy to fall into shame. I think if we can stay open-minded and open-hearted, it will help guide us based on our personal values, to find the right people that will help us through our journey. And sometimes we get with some people, therapists, doctors, school personnel, and they're not the right people. And we have to pay attention to, are things getting better? Are the people that are there to support us really helpful? Trusting our intuition without shame and without blame, is, I think, one of the hardest things that we can do, and probably the best advice I can give anybody, because our roads will all be different. Our the dynamics that come together to create the challenges that we experience are different. And I think that if we can stay open and ask for divine guidance to help us, we'll feel our way, sort of the Braille method, one step at a time, because there is no clear cut direction. It's such an individual process. That's what I would say.
The one word that stuck out for your answer is no shame.
No
I think
shame.
that is very important. And I'm going to ask Courtney the same question for someone your age group that is going through mental illness. What advice would you give them that who have not done anything but realize or come to terms with it? What advice do you give them?
I would say don't be afraid to seek help. It's so much better to talk to somebody about what you're feeling than keeping it all in. That just puts a whole weight of responsibility on you that you don't need. To keep hope, as hard as it is, like through your darkest days, it's going to be really hard to see any glimmer of light in a tunnel, but not giving up that little bit of a light, or even looking for that light is just crucial. And do your best to try to be gentle with yourself. You are the only version of you there is. You're so special the way you are. And whether it's, you think you look, you think it's not your best day, you can always try to find some good in the day and try to find something within yourself that maybe you don't love, but just try to find something within yourself that's comfortable.
You gave me goosebumps. That'll give me chills. That's beautiful. Did either one of you, or still do, keep journals?
I have a love-hate relationship with journaling. I started a diary card actually today, and I logged the last few days of emotions. That's something for me to sit down and journal about my thoughts. I could go on for like 20 pages and it'll just kind of it'll spiral me and put me even into a worse place. So I don't like journaling about my
I never thought of that.
But when you're going through a tough time, and for me, especially when some days feel like they're great and other days feel like they're the worst ever, writing down how you're feeling is journaling. And I also like to journal about things I do, especially to hold myself accountable. So I meditate and I try to get myself to have an everyday practice. So the more I write about things I do, whether it's that or, writing about something you're passionate about, but journaling in some way, I love it, but find what works for you, because not everyone can just sit down and write about their emotions and it be positive, which is a misconception, I think.
Mm-hmm. And this is a question for both of you. I'm learning so much from this conversation. What kind of signs are there for anyone, whether it be a mother, daughter? What kind of signs are there that someone is dealing with mental illness but hasn't spoken up about it? What kind of signs would trigger that to another person, like Courtney, to your mom? Does that make sense? My question makes sense?
And I see Renee's comment, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And it's so hard, because sometimes people hide their pain, and people, it's not so apparent. I can't say there are always signs. And so I'm so sorry for what you have been through. Please don't blame yourself. Courtney, you can share. I don't know. Well, you know what? I can say, even as a parent, I keep a lot of stuff to myself. I feel like internalized shame and judgment is the root of so much. We want to present what people want us to see. And I think there's not always signs, but when there are signs, I think that
you should not ignore them.
Well, you should not ignore them, but like what I wrote in my introduction, I wanted to like unpause the movie and be like, all right, come on, and I don't want to deal with this. We're watching something here, and I think that there are oftentimes biological changes, changes in sleep, changes in appetite, withdrawal from interests that were previously people would be involved in, or it could go the other way. People could get angry and they could escalate, and they could be combative. So it's a change from sort of previous behaviors, and it's oftentimes very biological. And then sometimes it's also very psychological. It could be anxiety, sad mood.
And it could begin at a younger age and then progress as Courtney. I mean, this is an interesting question from Leisha. Did you stay much to yourself when you were younger, and are you glad after all of this?
That's a great question.
It is. Were you isolated or an introvert when
I want to hear this. What do you? I want to hear this.
I'm a little okay. So did I stay much to myself? I think that I at times I think that there was times where I really just wanted to be alone and withdraw myself, and there were times where I just didn't want somebody to leave my side. And am I glad after all of this came out? I guess the book after it came out, or just like information about me, I guess.
You.
Yeah, I'm happy to share about me. I think that even if it helps somebody realize they're not alone, sharing my story, and then also just sharing advice that I've learned or heard or picked up along the way. I think that if not anything, all of this might have come to something good of helping people, and it definitely has made me realize that I want to be a helping professional and help people for a living. So this is a great start of sharing my story, sharing everything I have learned, I guess the wisdom I've gotten throughout this journey, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I am happy to share. I'm a very open book as it is. I'll share my mental health challenges and basically everything else to whoever wants to hear it. So I was really happy to share and to help one person or thousands, hopefully.
And I've always been a true believer, that communication is a must for any kind of well-being. And when others see both of you share your stories, I think it encourages them to share theirs. And I think it's just great inspiration that, you're doing this. And I want to just put some of these comments up. You mentioned at the beginning of our chat that this could reach so many people from your experiences and you being so transparent. And I just want to put up some of these comments of things that the audience are putting up. Like here's one from Karen. My cousin hung himself several years back.
This stuff makes me choke. Like, I'm so sorry.
And it told me we were close. He was married with 3 kids. And I look at these comments, and it's like these people were not able to express their emotions. And it's just really sad. But with you sharing your transparency and your stories, our readers are also sharing theirs. And I think it's beautiful.
I think when we can share our stories in safe spaces, it reduces shame. Here's a statistic that'll blow your mind. The average length of time in America in 2019 between when somebody recognized that they were having mental health issues and they actually got help is 11 years.
Oh, wow.
11 years. Think about that. Why is that? Why does it take so long? It's because of internalized shame. And it is because of stigma. As much as we talk about this, we make it okay, but is it really okay? Like, honestly, when I've had family members that read the book and said, why are you telling people this? Why do you feel like you have to tell people this? It's still really hard for people to say, because there's not one family that is not deeply affected by mental health or substance abuse issues. And when we can talk about this as something normal, this is not an aberrant.
Be ashamed.
Right. It doesn't have to be 11 years till we get help.
Here's another one. Kathy, my 19-year-old nephew took his life 8 years ago. He was always smiling. Everyone liked him. He always tried to make people feel happy. We had no idea how much pain he was in.
I'm so sorry, Kathy. I'm so
It's so
sorry.
sad. You know, who comes to mind of someone famous is Robin Williams.
Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade. You know, it doesn't matter what station you are achieved in life. To feel that alone, and to live with that pain is excruciating. So that's why we need to talk about this, and that's why
Really? But of one more, this is from Elaine. She had a cousin who hung himself 11 years ago, left two young daughters at the age of 5. And I just admire your strength, both of you, for sharing your stories and encouraging people to speak out, get not, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just share what's going on. Just like what you two did was brilliant, though. Writing a book together, I can't think of anything better. I think it's just fantastic.
If we can help anybody to find a different course or outcome, or help anybody heal from the aftermath of these painful things, then we're blessed, aren't we, Courtney? Like, this is kind of what I feel like I'm here for. I don't know. I'm sorry that this is what you're here for. I wish you were here for like fashion or something else, you know, but
I think it's just wonderful. I really do. We had talked earlier too that Courtney has mentioned that she would like to write another book in the future. Remind us again, do you think you'll write another book together for the ones that have joined us later? Do you think you'll write a book together?
If, you know, like, I think we should. I cannot stomach the thought of another book right now. I'll be very honest. I can't even think about it. But the self-esteem, self-love, and self-care book, I think we should definitely work on at some point in the future. Courtney's going off for her master's at NYU, so she'll be getting her master's in social work, and then she's applying for PhD programs. So I think Courtney is going to be very busy,
really busy,
researching mindfulness and interventions that can help children. Maybe talk about like what you hope to do in the future, because I think besides a book, I think you've got big plans, kiddo.
Yeah, I think whether it's a book that you open and read, or a research article that I want to help people and I want to research and do in the area of mental health. So it's definitely I wouldn't have thought that I would have went into this career path before these mental health challenges, but now I can't see myself anywhere else. So yeah, I want to be a play therapist, so help the little itty bitty ones and help them play through their emotional challenges, and also do research and help spread interventions like CBT, a lot of people know, and so spread interventions like that for people who can't get them. So yeah, right now I work with Black youth in an inner city, and I help them get treatment for their depression. So that is helping in a way that I love, and it's not just writing in the book, but helping in another way, which I'm passionate about.
I love that, and I'm sure it's so rewarding for you to when you see somebody come to you and then share their story, and you see them grow. And I'm sure for both of you, I mean, that's got to be so rewarding.
Very much.
Yeah, this platform to me makes me so happy. Like, I want us to speak to larger audiences. I want to promote conversations. I want people to go home and talk around the table and talk, you know, in the car, and just check in. How are you really feeling, and what's going on, and what can we do to improve our wellness? And I think the KrazyGirl project has to be, you know, a movement. It's
well on the way. I really do. I mean, you've got 3,000 people in your group, and I mean, it affects, like you said, 17% of young
and the family people and the people that love them. These numbers are, you know, nobody is not affected. So we have to just not pretend that anymore.
Look at our readers. We have, a small group here watching, and so many comments about what's been experienced in their families, nephews, daughters, cousins. So yeah, you can go a long way with this.
But hope. The last chapter in this book is messages of hope. And not only does Courtney write beautifully, but we've interviewed all the contributors to the book, all the experts that contributed, write a message of hope. It's if ever you're in a dark place, that last chapter, hopefully you'll be able to turn to it and you'll read something that'll spark hope, because hope is just imperative.
And it also stimulates your self-esteem. We need to, and I want to put, the reason why I brought that up is because Dana put an interesting comment. I would have needed to read this book 30 years ago when I had cancer and disfigured my face. I was crying all the time, and a specialist came to talk to me. So you also give advice, I won't say advice, but experience on how to grow your self-esteem and accept yourself and love yourself, correct, in this book? That's
Yes.
a part of the mental, I mean, I'm learning just from you ladies. So.
I think that one of the things that makes this unique is, yes, there's a lot of factual information, but it really is, it leads you forward to what can be done, and to have hope, and to look forward to create a better outcome and experience. So it's not just like being stuck in the mud and like sort of complaining. It's like, okay, let's acknowledge and let's move forward, and let's make the best life that we can and accept ourselves. And from that place, I think I would say, Courtney, from a place of acceptance, you accepted today, I'm not feeling well, and I'm going to come on here anyway. And I said that. I said, be honest. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to be anything other than you are. So by acknowledging the reality and forging forward anyway, do you feel better than when you started this conversation tonight?
In some ways, yeah, definitely.
Not all better. It's not going to make everything go away.
I'm definitely proud of yourself when you push through a tough time in any way. It feels good to come out the other side saying, I did it. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I would have thought.
And I think you helped some people tonight, so you should feel good.
A lot of it. I gotta say too, I love your glasses.
Thank you.
Glasses. I just like the frames. I could go on and talk with you two for another hour plus, because I am just fascinated by the work you're doing, for not only for your relationship, but for other people. I think it's just brilliant what you're doing. But we do have to, unfortunately, wrap it up. But before we do, we didn't even touch bases with your other book. Can you give us just a few minutes, Marci, on the other book real quick?
Well, everybody makes fun of me for this book because it is called The Tales of Perfect Foot and Her Road Less Traveled. And you can meet Perfect Foot. Oops, where is she? Right there. I can't find. Oh, that's perfect. I wrote it about my
his face. That was cute.
And my dear friend Kaylo illustrated it, and it's beautiful. And it's one foot's journey towards universal love and acceptance. And I think it's a modern day ugly duckling, basically. And again, all proceeds do.
Is it a picture book? Is it?
Yeah, okay. It's a picture book. It's a fable, and it's illustrated.
So, okay.
So look how pretty. That's Hawaii.
Who did the illustrations?
My best friend Kaylo, who actually put the tattoo on my back when I was 17. She did these beautiful illustrations about this little foot's journey and where the world took her, and how she came to love and accept herself too. So it's a little book, and everybody makes fun of me, but I still think it's very sweet, and I love my.
I like Courtney's face when you put your foot up at the camera. That was priceless, Mother. That was really cute.
Thank you for asking, Tina. And thank you so much for having us. And you're such a gracious host. You ask lovely
I love talking to you.
You make us feel comfortable. You share a wide readership. Thank you.
I don't like to be scripted. I just like to have the conversation. Like you're in my home, we're having a chat over tea. That's why I call it a Cuppa A Natter. And I just let the conversation, lead the way. But I love doing these. I love meeting new authors and the work they do. And you ladies are just, wow. I'm just so impressed with you. But before we sign off, I do want to talk about the giveaway, because you've been generous enough to do a giveaway. So I'll let either one of you let the readers know.
All right. I'm going to give away a signed copy of Perfect Foot. And I'm also going to give away an autographed copy by both Courtney and me of the KrazyGirl and Guy Parent Survival Guide. And so I don't know how you pick your winner, but I will.
We'll wait until after the live feed is ended. And the reason why is because we have some Facebook users, because they're in my group, which is private, and I can't see their name. So I don't want to pick someone without a name.
Right,
So
right.
once the live is ended, then I can see everybody's name and we can pick a reader. And I need to look at the author page and the group because the feed right now is coming into one. But once we're not live, it's two separate feeds.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But you can pick the winner or I can pick the winner. That's
Why don't you go ahead and do it and tell us who we should sign it to,
okay.
and then maybe let people know where they might be able to get the book on Amazon or
What
Barnes
I
and
was
Noble.
going to ask, Courtney, are you in my group? Are you in? Are you
No.
on Facebook? If you can invite, or I can invite you for friends, either or. But if you want to go to the live, I'll tag you on it. There might be many questions that we missed. If you want to, whenever you have the time, feel free to go in and answer any questions that we might have missed. But it's on the author page and my group. If you want, I'll just tag you on both.
Yeah.
I'm
And maybe you can put the link to how people could pick this up if they want to. And
it's
love to see if anybody's interested in being part of our Facebook community. It's a fabulous community.
Yeah, put the links in the comments. Put whatever links I put a few on the intro of the graphic, but whatever links you want to share in the comments, feel free to do that. I will send you I'll send you the links to both videos because there's 2 videos after we go live.
Okay.
And feel free to do that. And I'm also going to do a giveaway, which my readers know about. I always give away a $5 Amazon gift card. But, and you all know this too, in order to be entered, you have to go to my author page, share this video to all your friends, share it on your wall, share it in your favorite book groups, and tag me so I know you shared it. And those that shared this video, you are entered in the $5 Amazon gift card. And I will announce that one probably around 8 o'clock my time in a couple hours after my doggies have been fed.
Perfect. And I really appreciate all of your readers. The comments are wonderful. The participation is great. You've done a great job here.
These they're like, I always call them my extended family. I love these guys. The support is unbelievable. They come every week or every 2 weeks, should I say, and support me and support the program. When I do takeovers, they give me support. And the thing about takeovers is we can only say so much about our books. You can't change what the book's about. You can't, and I go in and do these takeovers and I'm talking about the same books over and over and over again. I try and change a little bit here, a little bit there. But my readers will come and give me support. They've read my book. And they'll be active in my takeovers, and I just really appreciate them. So yes, I would love for you to come into the Be More Books group that I have, and do a takeover there. And
happy to do it. Happy to do
it. I will send you the link. There's a sign-up form because they for the time that you want. And I would love to have you. I think it'd be brilliant. And if you want to go live in the group on your time, you can do that too. It's your 4 hours. You do what you want.
Fun. Well, Tina, you're such a warm and engaging host. Thank you so much for inviting us on.
Well, thank you
so much.
And I do want to just give you 30 seconds or a minute if you want to give the last few words to our readers. Marci, I'll let you go first, and then Courtney.
I just thank you all for being here, and thank you for being open-hearted and open-minded and supporting a kinder, gentler society where we are more inclusive and accepting of differences, including mental health differences.
Beautiful. Courtney?
Yes, thank you so much for having us, and thank you all for your engagement and your support. And keep being there for people and being open-minded and being open-hearted. And you never know when someone could use a little bit of kindness. So try not to forget that.
So true. Beautifully said. And thank you, readers, once again for being here this evening. I love hanging out with you guys. And next week, I'm doing this again. Normally it's every 2 weeks, but Stephanie Edwards and I will be chatting next Monday because she was unable to do it a couple of weeks ago. So we rescheduled for next Monday. I think it's the 15th. So keep your calendars open. Stephanie and I will be chatting. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.